talking about screening and all that, but how many women in actual sense take their time to go out there all through the year to screen or to even check if there's any issue concerning breast cancer? Now, statistics are telling us that over 4,000 Ghanaian women are affected by breast cancer, and unfortunately, half of that number lose their lives annually. Now, if 2,000 of them are passing away, what is the cause? And we've been told that most often than not, the cases are reported in their very late stages. So it means that early detection is not being adhered to, or is not something that we are considering. That's what we're going to be discussing this morning. But just before we do that, there's an exciting new chocolate beverage out there on the market. Now, it's from producers of Cowbell. Now, permit me to introduce you to Trisco, a chocolate food drink with a blend of premium cocoa powder enriched with Enafort, a combination of energy-boosting minerals and vitamins, including B, vitamin C, D, iron, and many more. Trisco is available in 20 grams and can be found at your nearest neighborhood. I mean, all the corner shops have it. Now, after getting it, make sure that you store in a delightful red sachet. After getting it, please just make sure that you store it well. But you can also get it in the red sachets going for 1 Ghana cedis, 80 pesos. Now, to enjoy all the goodness packed in the sachet, empty the contents into a mug, mix with 180 ml of previously boiled water, milk, and stir. Now, that's the way you can start your day. So Twisco is telling you that enter any corner shop in your area and you will get it to buy. Now, remember that this advert is approved by the FDA. Now to our health conversation of the morning. We are blessed this morning to have with us Gina, who is a breast cancer survivor and has become an advocate for breast cancer as well. And we have our expert. She's a clinical oncologist, Kolebu Teaching Hospital here in Accra, Professor Dr. Verna van der Poy. Thank you so much, ladies, for joining us. Gina.
Thanks for having us.
Good to see you. Tell me, how do you feel?
Good. Blessed.
This morning, very well.
Very well.
Okay. How long ago was your last treatment?
That was August 2019.
August 2019.
Yes, please.
Oh, so you are in your 5th year. Please help me with the pillow. You are in your 5th year of survival.
Yeah.
Oh, after active treatment.
Yes, please.
I bless God for you. How does it feel to be alive still?
I feel grateful, I feel blessed because I can't count the number of people that we've lost along the journey.
Yeah.
Those I started the journey with, that so I just feel blessed.
Oh, there were people you started your treatment journey with and all that, and other people who are affected by breast cancer who are no more.
Yeah.
You are really blessed.
Sure.
Good to have you in studio. Doc, we are going to come to you, but I was just talking about something. I mean, we only pay attention to it, massive attention when it's October. That's when we are talking about it, go for screening, go and check and all that. But all through the year, we really do not pay attention. When yours started, what was the feeling like? How were you feeling in your body?
I didn't realize there was anything there. I don't know when the lump got into the breast because I only noticed it when I started feeling pain.
Wow.
Okay, and because I wasn't breast aware, I didn't even know what breast cancer was. I never paid attention.
Right.
I would be lying if I should say I never heard any message on breast cancer, but I never paid attention.
You did, but you didn't pay attention?
No. Probably because I thought I was young and breast cancer didn't concern me, it was far away from me. So I wasted time actually when I felt the lump. And for 3 months, I was just home doing self-medication. Yeah.
Left or right breast?
It was a right breast.
That's how it started?
Yes, please.
Now, at what point did you feel the lump? Were you just going about your daily business? How did you even notice it?
It was the pain.
Okay.
It was the pain that drew my attention that something was wrong there. So I touched the breast and I realized there was an unusual lump there. I knew it was unusual because it wasn't in the left breast. That lump wasn't in the left breast. So I laid down, I asked family around, so everybody would come and feel it. And, you know, it was that freaky because when you touch it, and it moves to another side of the breast.
Wow.
And I didn't know it was my life. I was just joking with.
Joking with.
Yeah.
I see. But on a scale of 0 to 10, the pain threshold, where would you say it was like, what would you say?
So it started like 5, and then When it got to like 8, I realized, no, this is not something I should be joking with. So that's when I reported to the hospital.
Okay. When you got to the hospital that day, were you told that first day, or you went through a series of examinations before they finally told you?
So I went through a series of examination. Okay. So typically they did a clinical breast examination and then breast ultrasound scan. But the report indicated it was fibroadenoma, which was a benign cancer case. It wasn't like cancer. Okay. So it was not cancer. So, but then he said it also looked like more like an infection. So he gave me antibiotics. But then he told me to observe the breast for further changes, discharge. Then it was just a painful lump, but he asked me to look out for further changes whilst I was taking the antibiotics. So he mentioned bloody discharge or any form of discharge, changes in the skin texture. He mentioned a lot. So I think when I got home, I decided to check on Google what all those symptoms he was mentioned could lead to. Then breast cancer popped up. That was an awakening moment for me.
So it was you who Googled and realized that it could be breast cancer, not the medical officer
he didn't
who was
mention.
attending to you. There was a term that you mentioned early on when you were speaking. You just said something benign. I want to come to Doc for that one. Doc, I'm sure you were listening to her.
Yes, I am.
What's the meaning of what she said? I cannot remember exactly because it's a medical term. But Doc, what was it and what does it mean?
What I'll say is that not all breast lumps are malignant. Okay, that so indeed less than 20% of breast cancers are malignant. Not all painful breast masses are malignant. Indeed, very few breast cancers are actually painful. So she was even just lucky that kind of like most of them are actually painless.
You will not feel
less than
anything
20% of them are actually painful. So I'll say she was quite fortunate when it came, to that. So there's a mix. So the diagnosis sometimes can become problematic if the health worker is not aware.
Right.
So and I think that's the problem we have that people are not aware that a breast could be breast cancer, and therefore you need to investigate. Truly, 1 in 8 might not be, only 1 in 8 will be, but then the consequences are dire. So you really actually do need to have a proper diagnosis. Okay. Not just assume that it's breast cancer or it is not breast cancer.
Right.
So you should know what your risk levels are for that.
Now, you were fortunate enough, you're literate, so you were able to Google to tell. How long did it take you to go back to the hospital when you found out?
Immediately. I sought a second opinion.
Right.
And a third opinion, and a fourth opinion.
Wow, 4
I kept
different
pushing.
Opinions.
Yeah, because they kept dismissing me, just like Prof said. I mean, the second opinion was like, you are 30, a painful lump, ultrasound said it's benign, just forget, continue with the antibiotics. I said, no, I want further investigation beyond the ultrasound. So I kept going till I had 2 biopsies. So it's the second biopsy that confirmed it was breast cancer.
Wow. And did they tell you what stage it was then?
It was almost, the initial diagnosis was a stage 0. It was a DCIS.
Oh, wow. And
but then after the lumpectomy, the samples were sent back to the pathologist. And there was another kind of cancer hidden in there. So it was
another kind of cancer hidden in the breast cancer?
Yes, please.
Doc, help us here.
So there's a lot of research going on in breast cancer. So what we figured out is that with the diagnosis, we took a needle, you have like a 5-centimeter mass, and you stick in a tiny needle to take a sample to the lab. You do take multiple samples, but in there somewhere, the breast cancer has different characteristics. Like you have 5 children, same father, same mother, but they all look different. They have their own different temperaments. It's the same thing. Okay. So there's something called, there are different types of breast cancer, and depends on which part was biopsied. So that's exactly what happened. DCIS is the first stage of cancer. Okay, it's non-invasive, it's kind of like benign, but it could transform if it's not treated properly. So that's exactly what happened. So when they take the whole lump out in entirety, is when it's cut up and sectioned and stained. That is when they realize that she actually had not just DCIS, but other types of cancers. So that's what points to the importance of the right diagnosis. And what she did was the best thing. Multiple second opinions. And this is what is missing, in our culture.
Okay.
Yes.
But that was expensive, no? Going from doctor to doctor or one health facility to the other, it would cost you a lot of money, I can imagine. But Doc, you just mentioned that there are different types of breast cancer. Would you be kind enough to let us know?
So broadly, there are about 6 or 7. Okay. It depends on what I say, the signature of the breast cancer. So there's some that is purely hormone sensitive. So those tend to be a little bit indolent. They are slow growing, but over the time they can change as well. There's one that is expresses a particular gene signature, which is, we call them HER2 positive or negative, and they respond to a particular type of treatment. There's some that has a combination of all three. That's hormone receptor and HER2 positive. There's one that has no receptors as well. So they are hormone negative, they are HER2 negative. And even with the triple negative type, where everything is negative, there are about 5 different types. So right now we are going more into molecular diagnosis to determine the signature. And based on that is how you're treated. It depends on what is available in your environment. But even with the most basic diagnostic tools, you're able to go into the 4 broad categories, and then treatments can be tailored as that. Sometimes it can even switch. Something that was hormone negative over the years, it comes back, but it becomes hormone negative. So accuracy of diagnosis,
is
very important, extremely important. So this is science really here. Yes.
How soon did you start treatment after the 4th opinion?
Immediately.
Okay.
So I had wide local excision. So it was a form of surgery that had my breast conserved after the tumor and the margins around it were removed. Yeah.
Okay. And how long did that process take? I want us to relive the experience this morning, so you share with us.
So the moment I was told it was cancer, I mean, naturally I was scared, because I also told them that a cancer diagnosis was just a death sentence. I had no idea anybody could survive cancer. And so I was scared. It was a whole emotional journey, and I wanted to know. For me, I was all open to make informed decisions. So I kept asking all the necessary questions. And he told me my kind of cancer was treatable or curable, provided I adhered to the treatment protocols. So he told me, what even gave me hope was that I wasn't going to lose my breast. He could conserve it. And so I didn't even agree immediately that, I wanted to go to, because he told me beyond the surgery, I may have to do chemotherapy, hormonal therapy, radiotherapy. The sound of
all those PPPs.
It was just scary. So I said, no, I would rather do some diet, like alternative treatment. That he
change in lifestyle,
like those things. That one sounded more friendly than the things he was mentioning. He just showed me a picture. Jenna, this is a breast that came here. She went, tried all the things, came back, and it looked so ulcerated, very bad. Would you want to go and come back? Like I said, no.
No way.
I asked, when are you having the surgery? So it was that immediate, because I knew, beyond detecting it early, I should have my effective treatment in time to be able to have a chance to survive.
Okay.
So I didn't waste time. Where I have control, I didn't waste time.
All right. So after surgery, for how long were you bedridden?
I wasn't bedridden per se.
Okay, you were not
No.
But how long did it take for you to be able to now start moving around with your
week,
usual chores?
Like a week.
Like a week.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was the right. It didn't spread to the left.
No.
Okay. Doc, what informs what type of treatment must be given to the cancer patient?
So breast cancer treatment has actually evolved over time based on a lot of research. So now the treatment depends on the signature that I told you about.
Yes.
So before anybody undergoes any treatment at all, any intervention, you need to tell the type of breast cancer it is. The problem is that Gina is in Accra. She's educated, so she had access to this.
She was literate, so she was even able to Google to get
you understand. But you can imagine the numerous women who don't have access to this education, to this knowledge, or even access to a care provider who will give her the right encouragement and the facts. So that is our biggest gap right now. So the type of breast cancer is very important. That dictates, and this changes very quickly. So my knowledge when I trained 30 years ago is different from exactly. So I have to keep myself in the motion. I have to go for continuous education. I have to do some research to be able to keep up with the times and know what is best for my patients. Even in environments that are low resourced, I still can give a lot to my patients based on the information that I have. So the type of breast cancer is important. Right now, even breast cancers that are HER2 positive, a particular type, or they have triple negative, those have no receptors at all, the best type of treatment now is to start with chemotherapy and systemic therapy before any surgery. Right. So if you don't know that and you see a surgeon in somewhere else, I don't want to mention any names so I don't get into trouble, the first thing they know is mastectomy. Even before to check to see whether this cancer has spread, you ask the right question. Has it spread? Most people don't even ask that question. Immediately they see a diagnosis, they go and do a mastectomy. Oh, no. But sometimes that is not the correct way. What we know now is the sequence of the treatments have evolved to give the best outcome. It's not 100%, but you want to give what will give the best survival, you understand, for our patients. So these things have to be discussed. This is a specialized area of medicine. For many years, we didn't have availability of that. We've had specialized cancer care for more than 20 years. It still hasn't caught on in our system, you know, for that matter. She also mentioned something very important, which is going to the herbalist. That's the first thing we all do. It doesn't matter how educated people are. It doesn't matter how educated. Even me sometimes, with some things, I think maybe I should try something else. It's in our DNA. What can we do? We need a lot of anthropological research. Right. Why do we behave that way? Why is our health-seeking behavior different? It's the same as the rest of Africa. It's amazing when you talk to other people from the same region. That's how we think. That's how we're brought up. How do we change our health-seeking behavior? How do we process diagnosis? How do we process outcomes? I think those are things that we need more research into to tell us how we can change behavior. It's not easy, but then we need people like survivors who have gone through these treatments to hold the hand and say, look, if somebody didn't tell her that you can survive this, she probably would be somewhere else. I'm sure. But then who's telling other women? I was just saying this morning that I actually traveled to Hohwe for a program, and I said to myself, if I came from this region, I'm not going to Accra for my treatment. The only way that will happen if somebody held my hand and said, look, you have breast cancer, you're not the only one. So many people have survived. The 6 months of inconvenience is going to give you some life. You'll be able to provide for your children and for your homes and have a good quality of life. I wouldn't come. So that is also missing. And also some of the treatments have to be brought closer to the patients. Not all of it is not possible, but we try, to navigate the patient and make sure maybe they don't travel more than 45 kilometers for their treatment. That is difficult. It needs a lot of government intervention, a lot of policies, training of the workforce. Even the existing workforce that we have now needs to be cancer aware. That is missing, in the curriculum of our healthcare providers, to take cancer serious and not think that it's a death sentence. We learned from COVID. We lost a lot of people from COVID, and we are still afraid of cancer. So just to tell you that there are so many things out there that we can do for our cancer patients to give them some positivity. Okay.
Now, linking it to positivity, you are out with your own foundation now?
I work with the Breast Society of Ghana.
Okay. And have you been able to go into the hinterlands? Just like Doc was saying, a lot of the help is needed over there. Over the years, what have you been able to do?
Well, I have not gone beyond Accra for now. But once I was out of surgery, I dedicated myself to advocating, and I started from the breast care clinic at the surgical unit, Kolibu. So there I go out there as a face of survivorship to encourage and inspire those who are newly diagnosed or are having challenges on their treatment.
Right. We are running out of time, but I'm grateful to God that October is just around the corner. That's when we get to extensively talk about breast cancer. So I'm sure I'll have you two here back in the studio just to exhaust everything that hasn't been exhausted yet. But congratulations.
Thank you.
Good to see you, that you're bubbly, well, and living real good. Thank you so much.